advice and tips on how to write your own college essays. Reading my Common App essay, my MIT supps. Welcome back to another video where today I will be reading my college essays that got me into Harvard and MIT. Just want to preference before I start this video that this is just what I did to get into these colleges, but other people do like other things, and just because you do the same things that I did doesn't like guarantee that you get into these colleges either. But yeah, I just hope that you guys take this as advice and tips on how to write your own college essays. As I said in the last video as well, I'm also reading things from my laptop, so I will be looking down. Without further ado, let's get on with the essays. So before I start actually reading my college essays, I wanted to give just some few general tips that I used when I was writing my Common App and my supps. So first, I think it's really good to brainstorm topics of your essay for a while before actually starting writing your essays. That way that you can get like a brief idea of what you want your essays to be and make sure that your topic is really well laid out for you to write your essays. And I think that ultimately it's a lot easier to write your essays when you have like a really detailed plan. To do this, I looked up a lot of like websites that helped brainstorm good college essay topics. I think one that I really used a lot was College Essay Guy. He has a lot of like exercises out there to brainstorm topics for you to write your essays about. So I really recommend doing some of those and then seeing what essay topic you really want to write about. And I would say one thing that I did when I was writing a lot of these essays was that I was reading a lot of other people's supplements as inspiration, but you have to make sure that the supplements that you're writing, they're ultimately you who's talking, like your voice has to come through, and don't just like emulate the other person that you're taking inspiration from. Because I feel like it's really easy, because after reading a lot of these supplements, you get to see like what worked and what didn't work, but in that way like you could be losing your like own personal style. So I would say take it as inspiration, but don't completely emulate their style. I would also say get your Common App essay done before senior year, because I feel like in senior year you're really busy because you have to write Common App, supps, and school extracurriculars. So I would say that if you have the Common App basically ready by the start of senior year, you're on a really good track, so that you can just write your supplements and then focus on like keeping your grades up and also continuing your extracurriculars. And I would say that like maybe to start it over the summer and have a couple of drafts and make sure that it's basically on its way of being finalized by the start of senior year, so that it's really good timing wise. The more time you spend on these essays, the better. So if you can, start early. Do as I say and not as I do, because I did not end up following this rule, but my advice is that you should start earlier. I also did ask for feedback on my essays, so I had a couple of people read my essays. I would say always be careful on who you're sending these essays to, because I've read online that there's like been instances of people like copying essays. So like make sure that they're close friends, family, or like teachers that will really help you and not like copy your work. So I had a few of my English teachers read my essays, as well as like a few family members and my friends, and they really helped me like gain outside feedback on my essays to make sure that it was as good as it can be. Those were all of the general tips that I have, but after reading my essays, I will kind of talk about like how I came to write my essays. I want to start off by reading my Common App essay, because I think that was the essay that I spent the most time on. So I think the Common App had like 7 prompts. So the prompt that I chose was reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected you or motivated you? So I'll start reading my essay now. Red eyes, a sizzling pan, and pork cutlet at 6 a.m. There's a special love in this. My mother returns from the night shift and always packs me lunch for school. Rising at the earliest hour, she prepares indomie, a homemade Korean rice cake, eaten prior to important exams for good luck. This food, my school lunch, is more than a meal to me and symbolizes effort and compassion. Each box overflows with ingredients, lovingly purchased and prepared even when we could not afford it. In 8th grade, my classmates formed a team solely to steal from my lunchbox. Every weekday, I huddled in the school cafeteria, clutching the box and eating quickly to avoid their hands. This boiled over when my classmates accidentally knocked over the box. As the contents of my lunchbox cracked to the floor, I thought of my mother. Just this morning, standing over the stove, I held back hot tears. When I returned home, I was hurt, hungry, and enraged, but to my surprise, my mother sympathized with my classmates. Her brows furrowed. Do they not eat lunch? Just imagine how they feel starving the whole school day. The next day, my mother woke even earlier to pack not one, but 2 lunch boxes. She instructed me to distribute the second one to my classmates. When I handed my peers the lunchbox, their faces immediately lit up in stunned delight. They never attempted to steal my food again. I'm grateful my mother refused to share the anger I harbored towards my classmates. Her compassion helped me to realize that I, selfishly, only cared for myself. I placed my hunger on a pedestal, not considering those around me, also hungry and watching me eat. Since this lesson, I decided to emulate my mother, to share joy, even under challenging circumstances. During sophomore year, I chartered the club Stuyvesant Bridging Seas, which bridges Asian American high school students with their cultural heritage through a global pen pal program. Students communicate directly with students of the same ethnicity cross-nationally via one-on-one video calls. This provides students the opportunity to discover their culture, just as I learned Korean traditions through my mother's cooking. Initially, this club felt like an unattainable dream. We emailed hundreds of high schools, receiving rejection or no response. Through perseverance, we finally chartered with the Chinese school in Malaysia, galvanizing the Bridging Seas journey. Since then, we have accumulated over 120 pen pals and established a Korean branch in Seoul, South Korea. Motivated by my mom's commitment to sharing, I devoted myself to spreading culture through Bridging Seas. Like packing 2 lunches, managing this club can be demanding and time-consuming. Every Friday, I meet with the local directors of the club to discuss our next steps and future goals, which include expanding to South Asia. These meetings are lengthy, often lasting several hours. We organize program-wide meetings to strengthen bonds between members and hold meaningful discussions on cultural similarities and differences. While connecting over a shared background, members discuss their respective countries, daily routines, and school lives. These meetings occur even during summer break, as our program operates year-round. Bridging Seas is my priority, just as packing lunch was my mom's. Whenever I find myself exhausted from the responsibilities of running Bridging Seas, I remind myself of a conversation with a student in Malaysia. She expressed her appreciation for our club and the effort we put in, going as far as to say that a student-run international club would be unimaginable at her school. This reminded me of my peers' reaction to receiving their lunchbox. From this, I knew that the long hours are indeed worth it. As I continue to coordinate between students and schools, I hold gratitude for my mother, for her labor, compassion, her lunches, and of course, her delicious pork cutlet. So that was my Common App essay. My thinking when I was doing this essay was that I really wanted to talk about my mom's lunches because I feel like food is definitely a love language, and like that was just like one of the main ideas that I wanted to write about in my essays. And I think for the prompt, like since it's about like talking about someone that you're really thankful for and that make you happy, it's really easy to just keep talking about them and like making it seem like they're a really good person because obviously like you're really thankful for them. But I think one thing about this essay is that you should try to talk about that person, but also make sure that you're talking about yourself because they want to know more about you and not really about this person that you're like talking about. So that's why for this essay, I think I spent like maybe half the essay talking about my mom and the rest of the essay talking about like what I did because of what she did for me. I think that if you're choosing this prompt or a similar prompt, make sure that you're writing about yourself. What has this person done that you're thankful for that has made you grow as a person? For this essay too, I tried to make connections that were a little unique. So I connected like my mom's lunch to one of the extracurriculars that I was doing. And so I think to make an essay stand out, it's good to make like these unique connections that not a lot of other people are going to talk about. We're going to talk about supps now. Some of the supps I won't be sharing just because I feel like they're a little personal, but I will be sharing most of my supps. So I want to start off with my MIT supps. MIT does not take the Common App essay, so they only see like the supps. They also have a few optional essays. Today I'm just going to be talking about like the required ones. So the first one, we know you lead a busy life full of activities, many of which are required of you. Tell us about something you do simply for the pleasure of it. This is like asking about a hobby. So I was really into journaling, so I decided to write about journaling. Here's that essay. Ever since I bought my first diary in 2nd grade, I've loved to journal, filling 5, almost 6 journals and even breaking the spine of some. The creative aspect of journaling attracted me. I can write whatever I want. While recording my thoughts, opinions, and feelings, I am untroubled by judgment from others. Instead, it is a time to connect with my true self. I can also write about my interests in music, shows, and movies, which truly provide infinite freedom. I can decorate my journal any way I want, leading to the exploration of new ideas. As there is no rubric, I can fill the page with as many stickers, washi tape, and stamps as possible, fueling my creativity. Deciding to share my journal online, I created an Instagram account dedicated to my spreads on Korean music and dramas. I discovered similar accounts, generating a sense of community during the COVID pandemic. Through our shared interest in journaling, I befriended multiple people internationally. In particular, my friend Sarah is from Paris, and we frequently shared ideas about how we would design pages for newly released albums and shows, even after years of establishing my account. Journaling is still a hobby that holds significance in my heart and one I enjoy doing whenever possible. So like when I was writing this essay, I made sure to pick a hobby that I was really interested in and also something that I could write a lot about. If you are writing this, just make sure that you pick something that you can write a lot about and that you're truly interested in, because I think that it really shows in your essays if you're actually interested in something. So like don't try to like fake it. The third essay is MIT brings people with diverse backgrounds and experiences together to better the lives of others. Our students work to improve their communities in different ways, from tackling the world's biggest challenges to being a good friend. Discover one way you have collaborated with people who are different from you to contribute to your community. Break the silence and the violence, the crowd shouted. 20 people per minute are abused by their partner, equating to 10 million people annually. Abuse is prevalent in my immigrant community and is often normalized and unreported due to language barriers. Similarly, the topic social stigma encourages victim blaming. Troubled by this, I joined KAFSC, an organization dedicated to advocating against domestic violence and sexual assault. My team, Youth Community Project Team, consists of high school students from various cultural backgrounds, high schools, and experiences. Due to our unique backgrounds, sometimes we have differing views on the direction of a project. However, these instances taught us to put ourselves in other people's shoes, allowing us to collaborate towards our common goal: ending social stigma and protecting women's rights. Meeting every Friday, we participate in activities used to combat abuse. We drafted a domestic violence handbook informing the public about the indicators of abuse. It includes statistics, hotlines, and additional resources that aid victims and the public. We participate in multiple community outreach events, partnering with the police, political figures, and similar organizations. At these events, we showcase compelling artwork and share speeches to demonstrate that victims are not alone. At MIT, I intend to expand the breadth of my advocacy beyond my local community by volunteering alongside fellow students at multiple nationwide women's rights organizations. For this essay, I tried to mix in my extracurriculars and also answer the prompt. Those are the MIT supps that I will be sharing. The Harvard sup was optional when I was applying to Harvard, but it is a little personal, so I will not be sharing my Harvard essay. So I think those are all the essays that I will be sharing today. Thanks for watching this video. If you guys have any more videos that you guys want to see, please comment down below. But yeah, bye-bye.